Hey everybody, my name is Brendan from thestockstreams.com, and today I want to talk about BlackBerry Stock, ticker symbol BB, and how it is up over 60% in a week. So what we're going to do first is go into Google and talk about the macro picture of what's going on in the stock, and then we're going to go into the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy BlackBerry if we want to buy BlackBerry. So now let's get started. So here we are on Google, and we can see that BlackBerry is up a cool 4% in trading today. However, if we look at our 1 week view here, we are up over 60%. So if we look at what's going on in the news down here, we can see that, of course, a lot of these people are talking about Reddit and WallStreetBets. Even though this is probably the main contributor to why we're seeing this amazing 60% move in over a week in the stock, that's not really the main point I want to make in today's video. For me, as I've said before in previous BlackBerry videos, the whole point I want to make in this video is the possible re-rating of the company's valuation and why I think this re-rating is bullish for BlackBerry long term. In my other videos, I've talked about the EV partnerships, AWS deals, and patents that BlackBerry has to leverage for growth in the future. BlackBerry is really trying to reposition itself as a data company, an Internet of Things company, and most importantly for today's video, a cybersecurity company. If you all aren't aware, there have been some major hack attempts the past few weeks hitting the Colonial Pipeline, which pushed people in Florida to hoard gas in plastic bags, and also the most recent one on JBS meatpacking plant, putting at least part of the food supply in the United States at risk. Cybersecurity threats will be an incredibly large part in the future, and is why cybersecurity companies like BlackBerry will likely see higher demand for their products in order to protect companies' information and companies' IT systems. Not only is BlackBerry positioned in the cybersecurity game, they are also aggressively trying to push into the EV and automotive driving game. I won't go over this again because I've already talked about this in a previous video, but the main point is that BlackBerry has some fundamental bull cases that could cause some analysts and investors to reevaluate this $9 billion market cap here in the context of a cybersecurity stock. In the earnings report, we'll see that BlackBerry has a yearly revenue of around $900 million. What that means is that when we calculate price to sales for BlackBerry here, we are sitting at about a 10 price to sales ratio. If we look at this market beat article here, we'll see some comparisons that they make between BlackBerry and other companies. Now, I believe this data is a little outdated here, as some of the numbers don't match up to what I'm seeing from the most recent earnings reports of these companies. But the concept is what's important here. The main point that I want to make again is that if we compare BlackBerry to its competitors, we are trading at an extreme discount in terms of price to sales. Now, to be fair, there are reasons for this extreme discount, which we will again get to in the next section of the video. But the main point I want to make here is that BlackBerry is trading at an extreme value compared to others in the same field when talking about its price to sales ratio. Even if we double BlackBerry's price to sales ratio to 20, we will still be at an extreme discount to a majority of its peers, such as DataDog or such as Okta. Now, I'm not saying that BlackBerry is worth double its current price to sales ratio. That is up to you to decide. But with that said, normally a re-rating takes time. BlackBerry is in a unique case because it has gotten rounded up with the WallStreetBets momentum game. So this re-rating could happen faster than usual because a lot of eyes are now watching BlackBerry as the Reddit crowd continues to push these stocks. For what it's worth, and as I've said before, I am bullish on BlackBerry because of its re-rating story. I think a lot of people out there think that BlackBerry is an old company that makes those old phones that nobody uses. I think that a lot of people out there are underestimating BlackBerry's position in the data and EV space, and particularly the cybersecurity space, which again, to me, seems like it has some huge macro tailwinds. But again, a re-rating story takes time, and right now the fact of the matter is that we're sitting at around a 10 price to sales ratio, which again is much cheaper than its peers. So let's talk about the fundamentals of BlackBerry to see why investors have been discounting BlackBerry for the past few years. So now let's take a look at BlackBerry's most recent earnings report here, and this is the annual report. And again, I want us to go through this with a neutral to skeptical point of view here. I want us to try and understand why BlackBerry is trading at such a low price to sales ratio compared to its peers. Because whenever you see a deal like this in the stock market, when a company is trading much cheaper than its peers, it's always good to be skeptical. So let's try to first answer the question, why is BlackBerry, even after its move in the past week, still incredibly discounted to its peers. So let's only compare BlackBerry to Okta for simplicity, mostly because they were compared in the MicroBeat article that I just showed you guys, and because Okta is kind of comparable to BlackBerry. Now, I know this is not the best comparison in the world, but you can use the same analysis to other companies that you think are better comparisons, and I think you'll come to the same conclusions here. The main point I want to make in this part of the video is growth, or lack of growth in BlackBerry's case. We can see here in BlackBerry's earnings report that BlackBerry's revenue growth, which is this line on the annual report, is not growing at all year over year over year. We can see that this is the most recent year ending on February 28th, 2021, but in the previous years, we are actually declining in revenues here compared to last year or to 2 years ago. So as an investor, that's not really what you want to see. What you want to see is something like what Okta has here. We can see that total revenues for Okta is growing substantially year over year over year. And this growth is very impressive and is something that I want to see as an investor. I think the differences between this growth that Okta is seeing and this lack of growth that BlackBerry has is one of the main reasons why BlackBerry is being discounted, and it is a good reason. For a business, or really life in general, you need to continue finding ways to grow. If you're not growing, then you're really slipping behind the competition because everybody else is growing. It's kind of like running a race, but then you stop running halfway. Because everybody else is still running behind you, your rank in the race continues to drop until you forfeit. I think because BlackBerry's competition is growing revenues at a really amazing rates, BlackBerry may be continuing to slip in the rankings. Because of this, that may be why investors have been discounting BlackBerry the past few years. Again, with that said, and to be clear, I do think BlackBerry is trying to pivot its business into more high growth fields. Again, they are trying to get into new avenues of growth with the EVs and autonomous vehicles. But with that said, the past speaks. Because of the last few years, we honestly had pretty bad performance in revenue growth alone. People may be valuing BlackBerry less than its peers because of their bad performance. Again, there are macro tailwinds for stories like BlackBerry here, but there are also reasons why BlackBerry is currently trading cheaper than its peers in terms of price to sales. Now, it's up to you to decide if you think BlackBerry is worth a higher multiple because of its game plan to reposition itself as a data and Internet of Things company and its potential growth in autonomous EVs and also cybersecurity, but that's a decision that you have to make on your own. So with all that said, let's head on over to the trading charts to try and find a level or two to buy BlackBerry stock if we want to buy BlackBerry stock. So here we are in BlackBerry's trading charts and we can see that we are incredibly volatile. Look at the size of these candles here. So firstly, let me just quickly say that investing in momentum stocks is an incredibly risky business. Investors should be ready and okay with losing all the money that they put at risk. So first, we can see our initial momentum spike back in February and March. And using that as a reference, the first level that I want to point out is this $20 level around here, splitting the tops and bottoms of these candles here. We can see that that is actually a nice support and resistance level. When we look at our highs today, look where our candle stopped at. We stopped at this $20 support and resistance level. If we are able to break this $20 level in the next few days, then I think our next level is the tops of this candle up here at the $30 level. And if we can surpass that, then really the sky is the limit. Until we go through 30, all this supply here is really trapped and has been trapped since February or March. What I mean is people who bought here may be willing to sell their shares at break even. So because we may have potential sellers up here, that could provide some downward pressure on the stock. So after talking about the upside potential rise for BlackBerry, now I want to look at this $14 level down here made by the tops of these candles over here and the bottoms of these two candles over here. This looks to me like a really good support level, and if we look over to where we stopped today, we still stopped around that $14 mark. Again, this is why I point out these support and resistance levels, because these are areas where traders to see equilibriums between buyers and sellers. So I think if an investor wanted to try and catch the momentum game with BlackBerry, this $14 level would be the first place where I would be looking to open up a trading position. However, if we break this $14 level, then we could head back down to the tops of these candles down here around the $12 level, because that also seems like a good support level down there. Looking quickly at the MACD and RSI here, both of these are obviously very positive because these are momentum indicators. And obviously we are seeing a bunch of momentum at the moment. So at the end of the video, I just want to say, to me, BlackBerry is an extremely risky trade. We could see the same GameStop and AMC magic, or we could not. I actually do think that we could see some positive momentum in the name because of the amount of interest from the Reddit crowd at the moment. But will it get as high as GameStop or AMC? And the answer is nobody knows. But again, as I said before, this is more gambling than investing, and there's nothing wrong with that. As always, I encourage you to do your own research and be careful with the amount of money that is put at risk. So that was my review on BlackBerry stock. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you have any questions or if you caught any mistakes, also drop me a comment down below. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.